I'm Paul from the Studio Rats, and today we're at Dean Street Studios in Soho, London. And I'm here with the chief engineer. Call yourself
engineer. Yeah.
Engineer, Rob McFarlane. So, Rob, tell us about the history of this place. Tell us who's recorded here.
Dean Street's a pretty mental place. I found the place not too long ago and fell in love because it's got that particular aura. And then you start talking about the history. And this was originally founded as Good Earth Studios back in the late 70s for Tony Visconti to work with a lot of his UK clients. So you had David Bowie doing the Scary Monsters albums and the sort of beginning of the Plastic Soul era before he went to the US. Visconti also worked on T-Rex, Moody Blues, but then private bookings around that time you're looking at the Smiths, U2, Pink Floyd. Again, because of where we are in the heart of Soho, you've not got any sort of shortage of getting anywhere. It's very, very central. And it was a very sort of historically important place, Soho. It was quite sort of liberal, and it was a place you could be yourself, so a lot of artists felt at home here. And it's something you can sort of really feel now as well, which is great. More recently, we've had sort of Adele, Ed Sheeran, small artists, Florence and the Machine, right through to sort of A$AP Rocky and the sort of very contemporary US hip hop artists that we get as well, which is great. It's a really lovely mix. It's an eclectic place. But having that sort of historical, Dusty Springfield's last recording was in that room. Awesome. There's a nice sort of big wellspring of people that have worked in this room and found creative vibes here as well, which is lovely. It
is an amazing studio, and I mean, it is probably one of the last great studios in London. I mean, Abbey Road, Air obviously here.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the old ones, they're all disappearing, aren't they?
They are few and far between, so I think, I started at Rack. Amazing space, probably one of the most enviable studios from my point of view, and what they do there is amazing. I think when you're looking in Zone 1, Central London, you're really right. Olympic gone, Mayfair gone. Quite a lot of those historic places that did your Bowies or did your T-Rexes have sort of disappeared, and they're getting fewer and far between. We're lucky in the sense that we've got a really tight team here who are, not only is everybody on the ball, but we've also got clients who sort of know that and respect that, and we've managed to hang on. It's never going to be easy for a recording studio of our size, but I'm really happy that we're still doing as good a job as we are, especially when you see sad things like Angel Studios and things like that. It's nice to still be standing, you feel grateful for it.
Definitely. Well, tell us about the gear, because obviously we've got this. So this is the Duality, which, to be honest, is one of the better experiences I've had with a desk. Quite often, I freelance everywhere, and I work on a wide variety of desks with a wide variety of artists, and it's interesting because you walk into a room and you have to get to know a desk. This is the first desk I've really got to know quite well, and it's amazing the amount of flexibility they've managed to build into it. Considering it doesn't have a short fader, it's very much designed as a sort of split desk. The thing that I get used to more often is the Pro Tools control, which I never really thought of needing. Right.
And you don't need it all the time, but when you do, it's really handy.
So you just push a button, it goes over to Huey mode?
You just go over and it goes over to Huey mode, which is not unimpressive because I've not got anything open. But, normally your faders all snap and you suddenly have, 48 channels of Pro Tools control. Everything's labelled, you can, automate to your heart's content, and it sort of integrates quite tightly. It's even just handy to having transport controls at the centre position, just when you're mixing, being able to restart the mix without having to look over and look at a screen. Which is a really, really underrated thing, I think, that
taking your eyes off the screen and just actually listening
and not having anything to look at. And I'm really bad. I if I let myself, I can mix with my eyes quite easily.
Well, all of us do it. I mean, if it's a small studio, we both we've all got our speakers on either side and our screen right in the middle, because that's just the ergonomic
way to go. One of the things I like here is we've got our Pro Tools rig off to the side. I'm very much always looking through and I'm listening, and having a big format desk, you can't really replace
the ergonomics of that in terms of not having to use your eyes, and just having everything out in front of you. Also, mouse and keyboard's great, but if you want to grab a whole chunk of stuff and do something clever, it's a lot easier when you've got faders. Lovely sounding desk, very lovely, reliable desk. We were very lucky to have Simon Saywood of Analog Tube, who looks after a lot of our stuff here, and makes sure everything's tip top. Like the Westlakes, which were an original install in the 70s. And we've just got working again, and nice PMC amps, and sort of makes itself,
Absolutely. So Analog Tube as well. The guy that makes the Analog Tube, he works here, doesn't he? He
works here. So we had a session with a major label act. They had a bit of equipment they brought in. It broke. We took it to Simon, who was next door. It was working again in half an hour.
That must be
it's just lovely. It's lovely. It means I don't have to repatch. You ask Simon how long it's going to be. He says it's going to be half an hour. We go, right, we'll get a cup of coffee, have a chat, and then it comes back in working and arguably sounding better.
Yeah, amazing.
It's quite a nice luxury to have an on-site tech. And it certainly speeds workflows considerably, especially because he can fix things so quickly.
So not only have you got like amazing equipment in here, but also like if you're a guitar player, like I am.
Oh yeah,
you go into the room.
We've got about 70 amps.
Yeah, they've got about 70 different amps, which is amazing, and all of like vintage amps, modern amps, and pedals. Got everything.
So we've got an entire cupboard full of pedals. I think we've got over 80 pedals. Some of which are 70s original, some of which are bang up to date. Things like Zvex, and the backline includes some original guitars. Well, we've got all the classics. So you've got your Fender, your Tele, your Les Paul. We've got like signature models from everybody, which is fantastic to have because some of them are very, very nice. And then some of the amps, Woodstock amps, Oasis amps.
What amps are actually used at Woodstock?
So the 4x12 Marshall in there.
Yeah.
And then there's the head for that's matching is in Simon's office at the moment, getting repaired. But that was on stage at Woodstock because he opened.
And tell us about the Oasis amp. So,
do you know what? I'm not actually sure which one that is.
But is it something that they left here, or?
We've got quite a bit of the kit that's that's been left, and we've inquired if they want it back, and they're like, no, not really. We've inquired quietly.
Yes, best way of doing it.
Otherwise, outboard wise, we're lucky enough to have an analog plate. We're lucky enough to have 16-channel tape machine. So we've very much got the sort of old and new down. I'm a big believer in going through as much equipment on the way in as possible, get it sounding as close as I want it on tape. And then I very much stay in the box for mixing. So having the luxury of a tape machine, having the luxury of an analog EMT, 140, which has just come back into service. It's just really nice toys. We've got the Fairchild, which sadly was out on loan today, but Analog Tube Fairchild built from scratch by hand, and it sounds probably better than the ones that I've come across in the wild, because you know how it is with Fairchilds. You plug it in and you go, oh, it's a bit knackered. Then you don't use it. Whereas that's never knackered. It's always sounding fresh. So it's a nice blend of stuff to have to play with, and I'm very much enjoying sort of getting to know this place. Every time you come in, you get to know it better and you try something new. There was stuff today I've not tried in ages. Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, nice you tried it on us.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Every client gets one experiment. You throw up a mic that you don't technically need, but you try something new and it might come out nice. And if it doesn't, you just don't include it in the file. That's
a great idea.
It's just, if you've got the mics there, and we do, it's quite nice to sort of throw things up and see what sounds nice.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good.
It's great. So I'd like to say as well, the vibe in the studio is amazing. Let's start again. 3, 2. So I'd like to say as well, the vibe in the studio is amazing. You come in here, you're so well looked after. And it is a bit of a rarity, I think, in UK studios that actually happens.
Well, I think it depends. I think one of the things that's very true in today's recording industry is laptops and home recording has made everything very easy. And so where it used to be the case that if you wanted to record guitars, you had to come to a studio. You can now do it at home. I think where the differentiating factor is how quickly can you get it done? How nice a time are you going to have? How good is it going to sound? Now, if you spent a couple of weeks working on it at home, you get it sounding really good. I think
people come in and they realise it takes 20 minutes in here.
Yeah.
I always liken recording studios to the sort of luxury hotel that's opened up across from your house. You know, why am I going to go and sleep there? Well, it's because of the quality of service. Making sure that you as a musician are looked after is, to be honest, 90% of my job, because there's no amount of outboard that's going to make you play better, and there's no amount of outboard that's going to make you feel more in the zone creatively.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to do that is making sure that things work first time, every time, that things sound nice, that you're treated with friendship, but not over familiarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the sort of difference when you come to a place. It's a weird analogy, but no one has to tell you to whisper when you walk into a church or into a library. That's just how it is, because they're places that are built from the ground up to be quiet. And studios are places that are built from the ground up for musicians to be creative in. And as a result, it's our job to sort of facilitate that. And a lot of that comes with, if it's the service, or if it's just being a decent human being, it's a lot easier to record and be creative when the only thing you have to think about is your next performance.
Yeah.
And if a team works right, which this one really, really does, the musician never has anything other to think about. You know, the cabling is done, the sound is done, the hospitality is done, the practicalities are done. All that's left to think about is the next take. And that's a very liberating thing to be on the other side of the glass, I find.
Absolutely.
And something that's sort of almost impossible to achieve at home.
Yeah.
We work quite hard to make sure everybody feels at home.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Well, cheers, Rob. So I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Join us in the next video. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing a tour of the studio, showing you all the gear and all the different spaces in here, because it is truly amazing. So we'll see you next time. Cheers.